into a cup. You see, Patricia and I have had our ups and downs, and as the old nursery rhyme goes, when we were up, but when we were down, we were really fucking down. We had battled through separations, affairs, murder and mayhem, like any marriage really. Except there'd also been Stevie, our boy. Our boy with the red hair who'd starved to death in a bunker and been buried in a little white coffin. That had destroyed us, and for a long time we'd gone our separate ways, knowing all the while that we still loved each other and that one day we'd get back together, but neither of us prepared to make the first move. And then it happened, and needless to say, drink was involved, and a party, and me old mate Mice inviting us both without letting on, and then deliberately seating us at different ends of the table during dinner so that we couldn't slap each other round the head. Then he played old songs by the Rosillos and the Mekons and Rudy, which everyone else looked aghast at, but had me up dancing like an Egypt and Patricia up there with me doing a silent boogie. And trying not to look at me, but eventually not being able to stop herself from smiling because Mice put on "You're a Disease, Babe," and we were pissed and pushing 40 and dancing to the Outcasts, which we wouldn't even have done as teenagers because they were always the most unfashionable punk band in Belfast. But there, after midnight, pissed on red wine with everyone else at the party begging for relief or Neil Diamond, we danced happily and punched the air every time Greg Cowan hit the chorus. We giggled and danced and eventually kissed, and that was that. We went home together, and we stayed together. We loved each other, with added ground rules. An end to the fecklessness, which translated as a proper job. I hadn't been in a bar in months. Occasionally, we had dinner parties. I have been known to toss a salad. And they say punk's not dead. We were happy. And yet, there was always the grey area, the invisible border we were not able to cross. Little Stevie. We would never forget him, but we had to. He would always be part of us, but he had to be removed. The memories of him took us high, but would invariably drag us low. It should have been easier for me. He wasn't even my son. He was the product of Patricia's affair with her work colleague Tony, an affair she had largely undertaken as an act of revenge for my own philanderings. But then she had half fallen in love with him. Of course, he wanted nothing to do with the baby when it came along, because he was already married, and the ginger bap cunt at that. Excuse me, the memory of it still riles. And so it was that I said one night in bed, "Let's have a baby." She cried and cried and cried, and I cleared my throat a couple of times, and we decided that yes, now was the time. So we tried. And tried. We went from, "This is fantastic, we're having sex 3 times a day," to, "Christ, do we have to," in about 2 weeks. We were having sex in the ad breaks in Coronation Streets. We were having sex while Patricia bought pots from Argos, albeit on the phone rather than in the store. I even found out later that Patricia bought a tiny pair of white booties to present me with as soon as she was pregnant. Except she never did get pregnant, and eventually we went to the doctor, and we found out that Patricia had all sorts of gynae problems you don't want to know about, but mostly brought on by little Stevie's traumatic birth. Even if by some miracle she did get pregnant, the chances of her carrying a child full term were fuck all squared in a box. The doctor sat us down and told us in that bland, patronising way doctors have. Had to have, really. They couldn't care about everyone or they'd blow their heads off. Patricia looked like she was going to cry. Her lip was quivering and her cheeks were flushed. I held her hand and said, "Well, is that it?" to the doctor, and to Patricia I said, "Sure. Can't we always adopt?" "Don't you think I've already thought about that?" she snapped. "Do you think I wasn't aware the odds were stacked against us?" I shrugged helplessly. "Are you fucking brain dead?" Patricia was always handy with the compliments when she was upset. The doctor, sensing 3 rounds of championship boxing coming up, told me adopting probably wasn't a good idea. "Nobody gives their babies up for adoption anymore. The only ones that are available are either badly disabled or they've been abused and taken away from their parents." I sat with my head in my hands, partly depressed, partly to stop Patricia striking me. "Did you ever think of IVF treatment and—" the doctor began to ask. "I can't carry a bloody child," Patricia said angrily. "What the hell use would—" "Let me finish, Patricia." The doctor gave her a hard look and Patricia took a deep breath. "IVF treatment."